You've probably seen a deal like this pop up online, the E-YEEGER 2.5K Dash Cam. It's promising all these amazing premium features. We're talking 2.5K resolution, Wi-Fi, super night vision, all for a price that just seems, well, kind of impossible. So today, we're going to figure out if this is the bargain of the century or if it's just a clever trap for your money. Let's dig in. I mean, this is really the whole question, isn't it? Can you actually get a reliable, high-resolution dashcam for less than what you'd pay for a couple of movie tickets? The idea of getting that 2.5K video quality, plus Wi-Fi, and a bunch of other bells and whistles for under 40 bucks, well, it's almost impossible to just scroll past. So let's talk about why this deal is so tempting in the first place. When you look at the specs, just on paper, it really does read like a wish list for the perfect entry-level dashcam. You know, it seems to check every single box you could possibly want. And just look at what they're promising you're going to get. First, that super crisp 2.5K resolution, which is a huge step up from your standard HD. Then it's got Wi-Fi, so you can connect it right to your phone with an app. It claims to have a super night vision mode, a parking monitor, and to top it all off, it usually comes with a free 32GB SD card thrown in, so you can literally buy it and have it up and running the very same day. It all sounds absolutely perfect, right? But whenever a deal looks this good, you just have to stop and ask that question. Is there a catch? Is something hiding behind all these amazing marketing claims? All right, so let's really break these features down. We're going to strip away all the marketing hype for a second and just look at what these technical specs are actually supposed to do for you when you're out there driving. The biggest selling point, of course, is that 2.5K resolution. We're talking about 2560 by 1440 pixels. To put that in perspective, that's about 70% more detail than the standard 1080p HD you get on most basic cameras. In theory, that means way clearer footage and a much, much better chance of capturing those crucial details, like a license plate number. But hey, it's not just about the resolution. The camera also has a G sensor, and this is absolutely critical. If it detects an impact, like in an accident, it automatically locks that video file so it can't be recorded over. It's got loop recording, so you never have to worry about running out of space. And some of these models even use something called a supercapacitor instead of a regular battery, which is a huge plus for reliability in extreme heat or freezing cold. So that's what the box says. That's what the specs tell us. But how does all of that actually translate when this camera is mounted in your car out on the real road? This is where all those promises meet reality. And this, right here, is where you hit the first major compromise. During the day, the performance is actually surprisingly decent for what you're paying. The video's clear, you can make out license plates if you're pretty close. But at night, it's a completely different story. That super night vision claim, it struggles badly. The footage gets all grainy, headlight glare just blows out important details, and trying to capture a license plate becomes almost impossible. Okay, now for the most important part of this whole explainer, the hidden compromises. These are the things that you are not going to find written on the box, the potential deal breakers that you might only discover after you've already spent your money. This quote from a user on Reddit just captures the single biggest fear with any dashcam perfectly. Imagine this. You get into an accident, you go to pull the footage, and there's nothing there. The camera failed to do its one single most important job. This is the ultimate risk you take with a budget device. So let's break this down into 4 hidden truths that really apply to a lot of these ultra-budget dashcams. It all starts with the hardware. The sensor inside just isn't premium. And that leads directly to the biggest issue. Reliability is a total gamble. This gets even worse because of inconsistent quality control, which means that protection you think you're buying, well, it isn't guaranteed. Okay, so here's the crucial point. Even though the camera spits out a 2.5K video file, the actual hardware that's capturing the light is still a budget image sensor. It is not a high-end Sony Starvis sensor that you find in a premium dashcam. Those are specifically designed for low-light situations and for capturing sharp detail when things are moving fast. And that's exactly why the night performance suffers so much. And this brings us right back to the biggest red flag of all. The #1 complaint you hear about these kinds of cameras is unreliability. It could be the camera freezing up, the SD card getting corrupted, or maybe it just silently stops recording and you don't even know it. The scary part is you might not find out it failed until that one moment you desperately need that footage. That risk alone really undermines the whole reason for having one. All right, with all of that on the table, let's get down to the final verdict. Should you buy one of these? Well, the answer really depends entirely on what you need and, frankly, what your tolerance for risk is. So let's lay it all out as clearly as possible. On the pros side, you have that unbelievably low price, the better than HD resolution, and the convenience of Wi-Fi and a free SD card. But on the cons side, you've got those major reliability concerns, pretty bad night quality, and just inconsistent performance from one camera to the next. You know, this chart tells the entire story in one glance. For value, it's an easy 5 stars. I mean, you get a ton for your money. Features, a solid 4 stars. But then you get to reliability, a dismal 2 stars. That huge gap between value and reliability, that's the gamble you're taking. You're basically getting 5-star value that's built on a shaky 2-star foundation of trust. So, who is this camera actually for? Well, you should probably buy it if you are on an extremely tight budget and you feel like something is better than nothing. Or maybe if you're a first-time user who just wants to try out a dash cam. But you absolutely should not buy this if you are counting on it for reliable evidence, if you do a lot of driving at night, or if you want a device that's actually going to last for years. In the end, this is a classic case of you get what you pay for. A cheap dash cam like this can definitely save you some money up front, but if it fails on you during that one critical moment, well, it could end up costing you so much more. The only question left is that a risk you're really willing to take?